Welcome back to Alchemy of the Dark Feminine with your host, Grayson Kahn. It's officially Leo season, and I want to talk about something that's been burning in my heart: narcissism in the spiritual community. Some of the deepest wounding that I've had to heal from personally didn't come from obvious abusers. It actually came from people who claim to be healers, mentors, and quote-unquote light workers. And they left me doubting my intuition, my worth, and my connection to source. So, in today's episode, we're talking about what spiritual narcissism really looks like, how it affects sensitive, intuitive, empathic women, why Leo season is helping us burn away that false light, the red flags I now recognize in quote-unquote spiritual teachers, and how I'm reclaiming my radiance on my own terms. Let's go there. So, first of all, spiritual narcissism isn't just ego, it's control disguised as enlightenment. It's when someone uses spiritual language like alignment, frequency, or soul contracts to avoid accountability and hold power over others. So, this can look like coaches who gaslight your emotional response and call it quote-unquote resistance. Healers who position themselves as gatekeepers to your transformation. I personally encountered this, quote-unquote healers and coaches that actually gatekept information because they perceive me as a threat to their journey. Which, one, if someone's feeling insecure and jealous of your gifts or where you're at on your journey, number one, they're not in alignment for you, and two, that is the biggest red flag that they are not who they say they are, and they have a lot of shit that they still need to work on, and they should not be positioning themselves to, number one, show up as a healer or a teacher or a guide or a channeler or a coach, and especially profit off of you. That is an absolute big no-no. Okay, another one, the way spiritual narcissism can look is, channelers who say their message is source truth and yours is distorted. Oh my God. I came across this a couple of years back when I was going to this one particular crystal shop in Utah in particular, but I also had a different experience in another crystal shop here, and the common denominator between the two, or between most of them here, is a lot of them were run by people who left the Mormon church, and so a lot of them still carried that programming and that brainwashing energy into the non-physical realm, and it just doesn't work. You're bringing in narcissistic energy into something that is supposed to be expansive, abundant, pure, multi-dimensional, multi-experiential. Like, you are supposed to be experiencing many different things at once, many perspectives, many experiences, digesting and integrating different levels of information, not this controlling, manipulative, narcissistic undercurrent of energy. So, spiritual narcissists often present themselves as charismatic, enlightened, and quote-unquote high vibe. But behind the performance is a hunger for control, admiration, and power. So I want to talk about how this affects empaths and intuitive women. So if you're highly intuitive like myself, you're trauma-informed, or you carry the wound of, I need someone wiser to guide me, you are especially vulnerable to that energy. You want trust, you want to be led, you want to heal and grow, so you're open. But that openness can become an entry point for manipulation. You might find yourself doubting your own intuition because someone, quote-unquote, more evolved said otherwise. You feel energetically drained, small, or guilty after spiritual sessions. You are being subtly told that your emotional response is a lower vibration. Oh my God, I can't stand that shit. Because yes, certain emotions are at different frequencies, but that does not make you low vibrational as a soul, as a human being. It makes you human, and you are allowed to have emotional freedom. 100. You do not have to walk on eggshells around people because they, one, aren't regulated and can't handle the different range of emotions, and two, their nervous system isn't healed, and they are narcissists. Fuck them. You are allowed to be yourself. You are allowed to be true to yourself. And you are allowed to be emotionally free. That's another thing. You do not have to be an emotional janitor either. And that's like a whole other episode podcast that I can do about not doing emotional labor for narcissists and other emotionally immature people. But just know this. It's subtle, it's sneaky, and it hurts. Okay, so I want to talk about now how Leo season is helping us burn away false light. So Leo energy is about truthful, sovereign radiance, not performance, not ego, not hierarchy. That was another energy that I dealt with in those different crystal shops. There was this energy of hierarchy, and certain ascended masters were above others, and you can only tap into this ascended master so many times. It was just a bunch of bullshit, okay? I just want to debunk this right now and just remove this myth. Okay, first of all, there is no such thing as spiritual hierarchy. Now, there are different levels of responsibility and different levels of vibration. There's different levels of frequency. So yes, that is true. Like, there is a certain level of responsibility and certain frequencies that come with those newer and truer layers, but there is no such thing as I'm better than you. Like, at the source frequency, the ultimate origin layer, like, that's just saying, like, God is better than you, and that's not true. Like, you are God, God is you. Like, source is you, source is within you, you are source. And you are just experiencing yourself fractaled out throughout this universe, experiencing different things and different perspectives, learning and absorbing different life lessons and experiences to all share and come together as one. Like, it's all about the journey back home to yourself, individually and collectively. So I feel like that was a major truth bomb. So just go ahead and soak that in for a second. But yeah, so during Leo season, the sun illuminates whatever's false, whatever's feeding off of your light instead of supporting it. So tuning into this season, there are layers of pedestal culture, savior complexes, and energetic codependence in spiritual spaces. So this energy is saying to you, this Leo season energy is saying, you don't need someone else to anoint you. You are already divine. You are already enough. You are already worthy enough. Doesn't matter how many layers of trauma you have over yourself, over your soul, over your nervous system. You are innately enough. You are innately worthy. You are innately powerful. You are innately sovereign. And I'm just so done letting anyone dim that truth. And, you know, when I look back in my own journey and think about those different souls that I met who acted like they had superiority complexes in those crystal shops, and they were the know-it-alls of the spiritual world and spiritual community, and you know what I mean? Like, that kind of energy, I'm just like, go fuck yourself. Literally go fuck yourself and go heal yourself, because first of all, you're stupid ass if you think you like know all the answers. And second of all, like, you are not in a position to be an authority in this community. You're not capable of it. So, you know, people who speak from a narcissistic place, they're not capable of positioning themselves as an authority. Now, somebody who is healing their nervous system, they are open to their gifts, they're open to perspectives, they know what's newer and truer for them, they know what's false, they have a high level of discernment, they can sift through bullshit, they can sift through manipulation, they can sift through that control, and they can actually speak from their heart, and they can speak from their truth portal and their authenticity, this baseline energy that is rooted in love and not rooted in control. Somebody like that is capable of positioning themselves as an authority, okay? So just know that. Yeah, let's move on. Let's move on to some red flags and spiritual teachers and healers. So some of the red flags that I've learned to recognize are, one, they create dependency instead of empowerment. So this may look like, oh, well, you need to come back for so many sessions to clear this energy or whatever, instead of giving you tools and teaching you how to do it yourself and empowering you, right? Like, it's like saying, it's kind of like a massage therapist being like, well, you need to come back and see me in the next 3 weeks or 4 weeks so we can get this out or whatever. But if it's something that you could do yourself, like self-massage, you actually could get it out yourself, you didn't need someone's assistance, they should be encouraging you to be like, okay, do these stretches, soak in a bath, and this is how you're going to get this knot out of your shoulder or your back or whatever. Not creating this environment of codependency. Okay, so it's giving the power back to you, being like, hey, you can do this too. And yes, there are times where it serves to have that assistance, that divine assistance, but for that to be 24/7, no, you don't need that 24/7. So, yeah, anyways, next thing is they love being worshipped or treated like the only source of truth. Oh, this energy is disgusting. It's ugly, it's disgusting, it's gross. And it's just like pure narcissistic energy at its finest. It reminds me of this energy that I see in that one girl's documentary I watched on Netflix, the John Benet Ramsey documentary. Like, her mother is a malignant narcissist. And that's the energy it gives me. Like, this energy of, like, you love being worshipped and treated like you're the only source of truth. It's like, fuck everybody else. Ew, 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 ew. Literally humble yourself. Those people don't deserve to be in the positions they're in. And, yeah. Anyways, if anyone is expecting you to treat them like a god, or those kind of people that you run into the crystal shops where you like share information and they're like, well, no, I experienced this, and oh, well, actually this is the facts, or well, this is the only truth. Okay, that's your biggest red flag indicator. And you know what? You need to smash their egos. You need to call those people out. You need to confront them. Get used to confrontational energy and be like, just because you work here does not mean you're a know-it-all, and it does not mean you're an encyclopedia or a chat GPT for the spiritual community. Okay? Period. Point blank. I came here to buy some Veracruz amethyst, and I did not come here to listen to your lecture or what you've got going on. Like, that's none of my business. And please remove yourself, or I'm going to remove myself. Like, I wish I had someone to teach me that back in those days when I needed that energy. But yeah, there you go. That is my gift to all of you, is do not be afraid to stand on 10 toes around these people, because there are going to be people that you run into that act like they're fucking know-it-all. They act like because they studied Reiki 1 or 2 times, they're a Reiki 1 or a Reiki 2 master, or whatever it is, like the Karuna level, the highest level of Reiki you can go. Some of those people, they are on power trips. And I'm like, I don't understand that. I really don't understand their power trips. And I will be the first one to shut them down. I will be like, yeah, you're still a nobody. Like, you still have no idea what you're talking about. Like, you've only tapped into a piece of truth. Okay, like, just because you're a Karuna Reiki master doesn't mean you're a fucking god. Have a seat. You still have lots to learn. You are still a student in this universe. Good fucking bye. So anyway, can't stand people like that. Because, like, when I learned to become a yoga instructor and I learned Reiki 1 and 2 or whatever it was, I did not position myself as a low vibrational authoritative figure of, okay, well, now that I have the license, now I know everything and I know all the answers. No, I left myself open to learn from other teachers and learn other information from other people who have other gifts and a unique perspective from those gifts. So anyway, the next few red flags are they speak with absolutes and they discourage questioning or discernment. So if you grew up in a narcissistic family system, this is the same kind of energy, right? Like, you're not allowed to be mentally sovereign. You're not allowed to be spiritually sovereign. They want you to have that codependent, toxic, narcissistic relationship with the spiritual community, okay? Beware of that. Another thing is they will use spiritual bypassing to avoid emotional depth or accountability. I met this one, I can't remember his name. Oh yeah, I remember his name. I'm not going to say it because my intention is not to tarnish him or his reputation, but it's just to bring awareness of the kind of readers and mediums and quote-unquote healers that can be out there. And just because they are that doesn't mean they are the end-all be-all for all the answers. So, in my opinion, and also my experience, I don't want to say high vibrational, there are more conscious, self-aware, accountability-taking, responsibility-taking healers out there versus the emotionally immature healers and narcissistic healers that are out there. And it's not necessarily black and white, like, there is a spectrum of this, but just to give you an idea, a grounded, tangible, relatable kind of example, that is just my experience. And so anyway, an example of using this is I met this one healer at this one crystal shop, and I remember him telling me, because he was like looking into my energy at the time, and he could like see my ex-husband's energy. My ex-husband was a full-blown narcissist, and he was like, he got so triggered when I called my ex-husband a narcissist. And at the time, I was like, why is he so triggered that I said that? And this guy was like, well, I don't like labels, and you shouldn't be saying narcissist or whatever. Like, it was just so low vibrational. And at the time it turned me off. I was like, fuck this guy. He doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. And I'm like, at the time I was like, why is he so triggered by that? He was so triggered by that because he himself was a full-blown narcissist. And instead of taking accountability, instead of being like, yeah, I have a lot of inner child healing I still need to do. Yeah, I have a lot of denial layers I still need to work past. And, just the unique healing journey that comes with narcissistic souls. And they have to choose. They have to choose to detach from that identity that they take on. But anyway, it's like a whole thing. It's not our responsibility to deal with it or help those people heal. But anyway, he was a spiritual bypasser. Like, he would say things like, don't label this. I don't like labels. So that's a way of spiritual bypassing, is you're not naming it out loud, you're avoiding it, you're not taking accountability, you're afraid to go there emotionally, you're afraid to dive deep into your emotional pain, you're afraid to sit with that, you're afraid to face that, you're afraid to confront whatever is behind that. And so you're just going to be like, well, I'm not going to use any labels, fuck this. I'm going to be this non-labelist individual. Shut up. Literally shut up and go fuck yourself because you look like an idiot. And again, those people should not be positioning themselves to be a guide for people who are just waking up to the non-physical. So anyway, and then another thing is, another red flag, which is another thing narcissists do, is they don't celebrate your sovereignty. They fear it. So if you notice them getting intimidated by your emotional freedom, your energetic sovereignty, your mental sovereignty, your emotional sovereignty, your financial sovereignty, anything like that, if they fear that, if you sense that, boom, red flag indicator. These healers, these guides, these people involved in the spiritual community should be empowering you. They should be always pointing you back to yourself. Okay, a true teacher and healer will always point you back to yourself no matter what. They will always be looking at how they can redirect you back to yourself and empower you and say, this is my experience, this is what I went on through my soul journey, and this is how I'm going to share this information to point you back to yourself, give you the power and say, here you go, here are all the tools that I use, now here you go, you can do this yourself, okay, you've got this. Okay, and moving on to part 5, last part of this episode, is reclaiming my radiance and sovereignty. So during this Leo season, I'm taking my power back fully. I am no longer outsourcing my wisdom. I'm done cleaning up the energetic mess left by narcissistic mentors, coaches, and our quote-unquote healers. Okay, I'm choosing consciously nervous system regulation over performance, truth over polish, and my voice over their approval. And a beautiful thing that this Leo season is teaching me is that I don't have to shrink to be spiritual. I don't have to perform to be powerful. And I don't have to be quote-unquote perfect to be radiant. My radiance is mine, and I know yours is too. So, if this episode stirred something in you, maybe memories of spiritual betrayal or your own journey out of spiritual dependency, I just want you to know that you're not crazy, you're not too sensitive, and you're not alone. This Leo season, let's burn away the false light, step into our golden sovereign black cat frequency unapologetically. Okay? Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. And if you want more support or a sacred space to unravel this, check out my subscriber content on my TikTok page where I go deeper into the hidden side of spiritual abuse and how to reclaim your voice. Until next time, stay soft, stay sovereign, and stay in your light.